once again, I gotta give you kudos on that. Like, I really needed to uh, let the people know, like, he's everything I say he is plus more. So please. But the first topic on the agenda, the New York Knicks off season, my New York Knickerbockers. It's been a little turbulent. Not so much in player moves, but in just housekeeping, management, coaching. They fired Tom Thibodeau immediately after the elimination in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. And at the time, I was under the opinion that that was not the right move, especially when it came out through various outlets that some of the players, wasn't so much a revolt, but a lot of players were like, listen, we got through this season, but if you bring Tiz back, either people are not going to come in or I'm not going to give you optimum effort because he's running us into the ground. I'm like, listen, shoot, there's a core here. You can't have people that's new to the core all of a sudden trying to get the coach out, and he's the one who brought us to this level in the last 5 years. Like 4 playoff appearances, 3 consecutive appearances, and we made step by step, and it seemed like the next step would be to go to the finals. But I say all that to say that we have a new head coach in Mike Brown, and my first question to Mr. Powell would be, do you believe that the Knicks made, at the time, not looking at hindsight, because now we see who the replacement is, but at the time, do you believe the Knicks made the right decision in getting rid of Coach Thibodeau and then going on a search to poach coaches from other teams that already had coaches? That was the controversial
part. Gosh, why are you taking the girl that's taken? Why are you going after married women? You know, that was my thing with the New York Knicks. It took you all that to get Mike Brown. When Mike Brown been out here for months without a job, you could have had him. You could have had him on speed dial. You know what I mean? Like, and we looking around trying to steal coaches who are in comfortable situations. Let's forget job security. Oh no, yeah. Come over here. It's New York. We got Spike Lee and, you know, Suni Lee and Kylie Jenner and Timothy Chalamet. We got all these folks. Just come over here. You'll leave your good job to come over here. I thought it was just ridiculous. Now, if you don't mind, Mike, because I'm looking at the show notes that you sent me. Mm-hmm. And now my thing is, if I'll say this, Tom Thibodeau, he didn't deserve to be fired. Like you said, you laid it out perfectly. I mean, 50-win season, improvement pretty much every year. I think there was that one season in between where y'all went back down, but then had to come back up again. But for the most part, like you said, there was growth. There was growth happening. The roster was growing. I felt for the first time in a long time, the Knicks front office and the coaching seemed to be ascending a little bit at the same time. I thought that was brilliant. And you know, Mike, I'm old school. I just really feel like patience is such a weird, I think every human struggles with patience, but patience in the NBA is just in a really weird space, because if on the surface, a guy like Tom Thibodeau, you don't just fire him. And I think it was more due to the rotations he was throwing out in games. And again, that also isn't his fault. He still, you know, the GM still has to put a roster together that gives him confidence to play 10, 11 guys. The fact that he only felt confident playing 8, yes, that is his kind of stubbornness, right? I'll admit that, but it's also a little bit of that other side, like, hey, these guys just aren't cutting it. You know, guys 8, 9, 10 are still questionable. It could be any one of those. Campaign, Precious Achiuwa. It's such fluctuation going on. So, you know, he felt confident with those guys, and even the critique with Cat, I really think the domino that really hit was when Cat was really struggling on defense and Tibbs subbed him out. And the thing is, it wasn't a bad thing that Tom Thibodeau subbed out Karl Anthony Towns. As unfortunate as it was, you make that substitution 10 times out of 10. If people actually paid attention to that game and saw his lackadaisical, almost, I'm being harsh here, but it was the first word that came to mind, brainless defensive rotations, you make that substitution every time. But he did keep him out far too long. I remember watching that game, like, it was like 6 minutes 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, Tibbs, like, let him go to the scorer's table. And then after a while, like, nobody's there. Commercial break, nobody's there. TV timeout, nobody's there. Before you know it, it's a minute 59, and now he's coming to the scorer's table. That's when I was like, Tibbs, you messed that up. You messed that up. So I think that single-handedly was like the last straw. I think Knicks fans, I think just in that, maybe folks in the NBA world too were kind of giving him that side. I wouldn't be surprised if Rick Brunson was like, hey, bro, like, it's one thing to take him out, but what the heck are you doing? So now I think when you see other people's reactions, I think it does kind of influence the front office to make a change. So again, I'm not mad at the Knicks for making a change. I think they did do Tom a little, they did him a little bogus, but it's a new chapter now. I think Mike Brown's a good hire. I think he's got plenty of experience. He has experience with superstar players. He has experience with upcoming teams. I think he can do a really good job for the Knicks. I think they needed a fiery, passionate coach. That's why you were seeing names like Mike Malone, even Sam Cassell. They needed somebody to match that New York fire. Not that Tibbs didn't. He just showed it in a different way. But I think, where they're at now, they needed somebody to kind of take over with that fire and really try to take New York Knicks basketball to the next level.
Do you think, and like you said, Mike Brown was always there. He was like, so for them to have to go on a award tour with Muhammad, my man, going to, Houston, trying to get Udoka, trying to get Jason Kidd, even though I really believe their number one target probably was Jason Kidd. Because,
and it makes sense.
You make that move with no automatic pivot. Because a lot of people was talking about, I think, what was the name? The assistant for Cleveland was Johnny Bryant, I believe.
I don't know if I heard about this.
Yeah, I think because he was an assistant for us, and then now he's on the bench with Cleveland. He was a finalist for the Phoenix head coach job.
It's like I know who you talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody assumed it was going to be him, like being the fact he already had a relationship. But I was against that only because in the situation that we was So yeah, okay. So, okay, yeah. So you couldn't take a step back and have a rookie head coach and like, shoot, we got to 1 game to the finals, and then you're gonna give it to the rookie head coach, and now we're not getting out the second round. So you couldn't do that.
All these impulsive decisions.
But I really believe they was trying to get Jason Kidd. They figured that Jason Kidd was going to somehow, some way finagle his way out of Denver, like he's able to finagle his way out of other contracts. I really think what ended up happening was Jason Kidd was able to eventually, and I don't know if this is official or not, but didn't he get an extension in Dallas?
I thought so.
Yeah, I believe he got an extension in Dallas. So not only did they deny the Knicks the opportunity to talk to him, Jason was like, well, I can make this ugly, or y'all can give me some more money. I mean, listen, it's not a rebuilding job, but we got the number 1 pick. We listen, we got AD, Kyrie. Okay, y'all
They got a good squad.
So do y'all really want to start from zero? Because if y'all want to start from zero, I'll make things bad and I'll tell the team, look, I don't want to be here. I want to go to New York, and let y'all give me this. So once that domino fell, it's like, okay, damn, all right, now what y'all gonna do? I think they tried to even poach your team. They tried to poach on Billy Donovan, didn't they? I think they had Billy Donovan for an interview.
Oh, they sure did. Yeah. They did.
I just hated the fact that nationally on the media, in ESPN, FS1, the everybody, they were taking such joy in the fact of the Knicks are doing Knicks stuff again. Look, they got to 1 game in the finals, And now look at it. They fired the coach. They act like they too good for Tom Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now they're trying to they're trying to poach this one. Did they have a plan? And I'm like, why? And I've mentioned this in the past. Why? Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you this question. Why do you believe for a team that has been bereft of success for so long that the national media as a whole takes such glee in kicking us while we're down or waiting for that other shoe to drop? Like, yeah, see, they was up 14 with 3 minutes left and they lost. But meanwhile, like I think you mentioned before, I mean, when we was talking that, OKC did something similar. You didn't have that same energy with everybody else. So why do you believe that the media has it in for not only New York, but the Knicks as a whole? Like, we can never do anything right, even when we're up there, like, but why do you believe that?
I think that's a great question. I think it's because it's just right now, it's just easy. It's easy to joke on y'all. It is easy to be the butt of the joke. Like when you're, like you said, when you're struggling all these years to really get over the top, when you're one of the biggest markets in sports and you're still coming up short, because again, that is already coming with a championship standard, just because of the lore of what it means to be a New York athlete, what it means for New York sports. When you guys go up 2-0, versus Boston or whatever, what have you, y'all are in the streets jumping on light poles and stuff like that. Like, so it's easy to be the butt of the joke, because people are going to say, when you're excited, Mike, people don't like that. People don't like joy. I'll say that. People don't like joy. They and that's what the media does. They build you up to break you down. And that's the thing. I learned this in radio, Mike. Conflict is great when it comes to media. So that is why a lot of these companies are fishing for the smallest thing. The smallest thing. Oh, Tom Thibodeau had peanut butter and jelly instead of I don't know, Caesar salad today. That's why they lost. Because he didn't watch his diet the way he could have. That's why they lost, Mike. You're gonna fish for anything, especially on a slower news day. You're gonna fish for anything you possibly can and like I said, especially an environment like New York. They're gonna fish for anything to get on you guys. So again, that's why winning becomes more important, and I'd like to think that you guys are on the up and up, especially when we think of the landscape of the Eastern Conference next year. Again, let's already go there, Mike.
Yeah.
Say the New York Knicks have a spectacular season this upcoming year.
Okay.
You know what's the first thing they're gonna say? Oh well, it's easy to win when Tyrese Halliburton with no Jason Tatum. Do that with Jason Tatum. Do that with Tyrese Halliburton. Do that with a healthy. I mean, we didn't know it at the time, but do it with a healthy Damian Lillard. It's so. That's why I do feel for the Knicks, because it's always going to be a problem, Mike. It's always going to be a problem until y'all do something crazy like three-peat. Like it's always going to be something crazy.
Yeah, because even the Boston series, when Tatum unfortunately had the injury at the end of game 4. Yeah, at the end of game 4.
Mm-hmm.
We were already up.
Yeah,
we were already
the momentum of that game swung y'all's way. Let's not forget that momentum was swinging even when he was out there.
Yeah, so that's number one. Number two, we were already up in the series 2-1, and that game was, I won't say it was a fait accompli, but it was like, okay, we was taking control of that game. Yeah, he was going off, but he was the only person going off for Boston. And as soon as that game was over, well, Brian Rendorf. Well, it's such a tragedy that we were deprived of the ending of that game. We were up 8 when he got injured. I mean, on the play, he got injured. All right, I think we went up 10. It's like, I get it. You need a topic. They're the defending champs or whatever. But it was just like, they weren't. I highly doubt that they were going to come back and win that series. It was the best way I could describe it, and I might have said this in the past. Last year, the narrative in the West, right, was that Minnesota, in their run, the way they was constructed with Towns and Gobert, They were literally constructed to beat Denver, right? They beat Denver because that's how they was constructed. They was like, okay, Denver's the champion. This is we need to go through them. This is how we're going to build our team. Unfortunately, they came up short against Dallas, right? Because did they really think they were going to face Dallas in the finals, in the conference finals? No, but that's what ended up happening, right?
Good point.
In our offseason last year, the whole point of the whole reasoning and why we made the two big moves that we made, giving up all that draft capital to get Mikal Bridges, because he's boys with Brunson, okay, that's a plus. Is he a Villanova cat? Yeah, he's a plus. But he was advertised as a wing defender. We needed a wing defender to go along with OG to pretty much say, all right, mano a mano, Brown and Tatum. All right, we got out to face up with y'all. Okay, bingo. Then that leaves the unicorn. That leaves Porzingis. We don't have nobody. You know what? Guess what? We have
Randall
problems with down low or whatever. Mm-hmm. We need a big. Mitchell Robinson, all right, he's what he is, but he's not an offensive big. We need a stretch big. Guess what? All right, we could get Cat. Fine. So now we could kind of neutralize Porzingis. Maybe not defensively, but whatever Porzingis can give you, Cat can equal that on the offensive end. We were built to beat Boston. Was a little short-sighted say, well, did we really think we were going to face Boston in the semifinals? No, we probably thought, if anything, we were going to face Boston in the conference finals.
Right. Absolutely.
The way we're constructed is not really conducive to how Indiana plays. We can't. So that was a bad matchup. So it's like the media forgets that. The media forgets all of that. So for them to get out the East, and since I kind of went all over the place, I really lost my train of thought. I ain't gonna lie. For them to get out the East next year, I think we should be the ongoing favorites, which I really don't like being that much of a front runner, like the front favorite, because that's just too much.
That's a big target.
Yeah, it's a big target. On top of, like we just talked about, that people just love to kick us when we're up to make sure we're down so they can stomp us. But also, if you look at it, there's really no reason why we shouldn't get out the East.
Straight up.
I mean, Cleveland. Okay. This stack, I don't fear Cleveland at all. Like
I said it on my pod. Folks is not scared of no Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And that's not me. I don't want people to I don't want our listener here or anyone to confuse what I'm saying. Evan Mobley, I love the leap that he took this year. Jared Allen is a serviceable big man, but again, they aren't strong big men. They like what I said it all year. What they have in athleticism, all what most teams have done is throw stronger bodies down there for them rebounds, and they can't hang with stronger bigs. They can out jump them, they can dunk on them, but when it comes to body to body, box outs, rebounds, things of that nature, they get outworked pretty often, and we saw that. But I just wanted to mention that real quick, Mike.
No. Feel free to jump in. But we're not afraid of Cleveland. Like I will say this. And this is no shade to Bickerstaff, who's doing a great job in Detroit.
He sure is.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I think he got the short end of the stick, because pretty much old boy that's the coach right now is just picking up from where Bickerstaff left off.
Oh, Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah. But I do believe that Atkinson is a heck of a coach.
Oh, yeah.
A heck of a brilliant mind. So that would be, if we would have still kept Tibbs, that would have been something to look at, because Carlisle, in a lot of ways, exposed Tibbs in every way he could. But with that out the way, Mike Brown, I don't see somebody Because Mike Brown is so versatile. Like, he's had the #1 defense. He's had the #1 offense. He, like you said, he's come from all different regimes. He's come from San Antonio under Popovich.
Mm-hmm.
He had his run in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say the learning tree occurred, but just that culture right there. And a lot of people don't realize that during one of those runs when Kerr was out with the migraines, Mike Brown was studying that tip.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so it's something that it's going to be a short window because I don't see Mike Brown being here 5 years. I really don't. But if we can get what we need to get out of him within the first 3 years, especially with the people that we have under contract and under roster, and I believe he's going to be able to come up with schemes to amplify the talents of the people that we have, offensively and defensively, I believe that's a plus. And let me ask you this question, because we made 2 moves during the offseason so far.
Mm-hmm.
The big from 76ers,
Yabusele.
and Jordan Clarkson.
Clarkson.
Your thoughts on those moves and how they could integrate into the roster that we have right now?
So yeah, I love those moves. What's funny is it's great timing too, Mike. I don't know when this is gonna drop, but when my episode drops on Friday, I don't even know what exact date that is, but this week at the time of this recording, when that episode drops, I'm gonna be talking about a lot of these offseason moves, and I really like what the Knicks did getting Jordan Clarkson. Y'all needed a scoring punch. It's one thing for Brunson to do what he does. It's one thing for Cat to do what he does in playing the inside out game, or you could really say for him outside in. But there was still, there were times I was watching, Mike, I don't know if I told you this, but there were a lot of times I was watching the playoffs and I'm like, we can't get Mikal Bridges the ball a little bit more down the stretch. OG Anunoby, he's very on and off with it. I think, and he's just not a fluid, pure scorer like that. And then off the bench, I think there really wasn't anybody to fill that void. So now you got Jordan Clarkson, who, again, if you notice, he gets a lot of comparisons to 2 former Knicks, J.R. Smith, Jamal Crawford. So just lo and behold, a part of this lore, he finds himself wearing the orange and blue with the same exact role. You going to get shifty. You going to get the buckets. When we need a run, we got you. Now, the thing I'll say what I really want to say to New York fans is this. Guerschon Yabusele does not jump off the paper. He was out the league, riding the bench in Boston, went overseas, dunks on LeBron in the Olympics, and all of a sudden is this hot commodity. And he's grown as a player. You look at, to go through all that, and you look at what he did this year with the Philadelphia 76ers. If I'm correct, it's shooting 38% from 3 as a pick and pop guy, but he also can take that, he can pump fake you with the 3 and drive the lane. But his biggest thing is transition points. And again, one of the things that Tom Thibodeau stressed with the New York Knicks was, I need Josh Hart because he's the one that runs in transition. Well, now you have Yabusele and you have a tight end, if you will. You got Antonio Gates running up the seam. You got Tony Gonzalez running up the seam. You know what I'm saying? You got a target now to keep up with those fast breaks, and somebody who's looking for the ball in fast break situations. So it's an energy pick from him, but he can play the small ball 5 if y'all absolutely want to run that lineup. Of course, with Mitch and Cat, you don't have to, but as a nice cheat code thing, like if you want to do it before the TV timeout, if you want to do it 2 minutes before halftime, throw Yabusele in a small ball 5 and see how it works. See how many transition points y'all can get. If I'm selling the NBA world, if I'm selling New York Knicks fans, that's my big selling point. I love the acquisitions. It took a minute to grow on me, but once I thought about it and I processed it, I said, okay, this is what y'all needed. Y'all needed bodies. Y'all needed a bit of a deeper rotation, and I think y'all solidified that.
Do you believe that we need another big? Because
you saying like a true big?
Yeah, because in a perfect world, you really don't want Cat to play the 5 consistently. If anything, even though he's not small, you could play a small ball 5 lineup with him as the 5, but and then at certain times you really don't want to play him and Mitchell at the same time either. Because it's almost playing 4-on-5 offensively because Mitch is only getting putbacks,
If
So
that they
yeah,
gonna
if
foul,
that,
they gonna foul, and he gonna hit one or two.
yeah, So do you think they need a legitimate big? And if so, based on the moves that's happened already, do you know if there's anybody left that would be a good fit?
That's a good question. To be honest, my brain, I feel like there's not a lot of fives left, or at least good fives. If we're getting towards that point in free agency where if you're getting a five, it's gonna be somebody who's young, probably in and out the G League, probably a few minutes in the league, but just very sporadic minutes. Right now, right, like you look at Valanciunas, the Nuggets just got him, and he's probably going off to Greece. Al Horford is contemplating retirement, and he's contemplating going to the Warriors. So that's out the picture. Off the top of my head, I can't. I would have to do a quick search, but I cannot think of who else is really out there if you want to compete with some of these teams that have multiple bigs. Because that's another thing I'm bringing up on the pod too, Mike, is that if you notice around the league, when Victor Wembanyama and like Chet Holmgren came into the league, teams started saying, okay, we got to draft guys that can guard these guys. I don't want to put no 6'8" dude on Wemby. So you're seeing, so obviously, boom, Zach Edey comes in last summer.
Okay.
Right now, it's like, okay, the big man is coming into style again in different forms. And then when you combine that with Jokic in the low post, Embiid in the low post, now it's becoming cool again to have that. And then now look at it like this though. Dallas Mavericks have three bigs: AD, Gafford, Lively. What did the Rockets do? They just got Clint Capella, Sengun, Adams, Capella. Yeah. What did OKC just do? They drafted Thomas Sorber because they also had their moments where Hartenstein and Holmgren were out. They both played where they were not impressed with how they were playing, and they were willing to put Jalen Williams at the 5. And I'm talking J-Dub Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Right? So they draft a big. So I understand. So to your point, that may be something the Knicks have to consider if they can't do it this offseason. Definitely start lurking around early when the season starts. Get a few games under your belt, maybe at the deadline. See who's out there, because you might need a true big man, because a lot of these teams are getting hip to that and getting 3 big men and actually trying to get 3 playable big men. So, like I said, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody. I wish y'all would play Precious Achiuwa a little bit more. I understand he's more like high energy, spot minutes, but yeah, that's just what I think.
I would be shocked if they bring him if he has an option. I don't know how his contract is. I don't know if it was a 2-year with an opt out or a team option. Mm-hmm. If it was a team option, I could see them bringing it back. If it was a player option, I could see him opting out. Like, listen, I know y'all got a new coach, but come on, like the last 2 years, I've showed that there's times that when I got time on the court, I did my thing. It's just y'all never really played me. Like that was one of the frustrating things. And this is going to lead into my next question. That's one of the frustrating things in that Pacers series is like, we're not asking you to give Precious 30 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. But when you got Obi Toppin that's pretty much pushing and running and which go and getting these free runouts, these free leak outs, we need somebody that can at least match him on there, or at least be like, you know what, that's my responsibility, is to make sure that he ain't getting no free dunks. He ain't getting no free threes. I'm more flexible. I can get to the perimeter and play him.